All right, hi everyone. This is Tony Marino with Guild Mortgage. Today we have Glenn Marino as our guest speaker who will be discussing business planning for 2026. We're going to spend some time discussing obstacles versus opportunities, your top three key motivators, suggestions for expanding your lead generation, knowing your target audience, and more. All attendees will get a fillable business planning workbook and a realtor goal planning worksheet. So thanks everyone for joining, and I will throw it over to Glenn to get started.
Thanks, Tony. This is probably one of the more exciting classes that we can offer because it really sets the tone for 2026. As many of us have always heard, if you're going to do the same thing over and over again, don't expect different results. It's the definition of insanity. You're not going to get different results in 2026. So our goal here today, Tony and I are trying to expand your mind, expand your knowledge, expand what you're capable of doing. And if you can walk away from today with one or two activities, strategies that you think you'd like to implement in 2026, we're here to help you implement it. And so let's get started with what is available to you. What can you do differently and add to your resources to either get more buyers or more sellers or both in 2026? Um, as Tony mentioned, you know, we're going to be talking about the real estate industry, some of the predictions for 2026. We want to make you a unique seller. We want you to have a unique selling proposition. Are you a greenfish or a goldfish? Are you just one of the many goldfish in the goldfish bowl, or are you a greenfish in that goldfish bowl standing out from all the rest? We're going to go through some of the resources that you should look into for your business plan for 2026. We're going to show you some of the marketing strategies that you should consider and make sure that you're focused on doing money making activities first thing in the morning. So, Tony's already introduced us. So, let's take a look at what some of the industry experts are saying. What does 2026 hold for us? Well, the first one here is NAR, for the National Association of Realtors. They're talking about for 2026 a 14% increase in home sales. Well, that's great if you're if you're going to be a listing agent. A significant jump from the 2025 levels. Prices, as far as prices for 2026, they're expected to continue to rise at a slower pace, with some forecasts predicting around a 4% increase nationally. Again, it'll be geographical. Maybe depending upon where you're located, Midwest, South, Western, there'll be more or less than that 4%. Mortgage rates, very important for 2026. We already saw in December that the Federal Reserve lowered short-term interest rates, Fed fund rates. It doesn't necessarily translate into the same amount of drop in the longer-term rates, but mortgage rates are always tied to the 10-year Treasury. So watch the 10-year Treasury throughout 2026. It's projected to come down to about 6%, which is, it was as high as 7% in 2025. It has slowly come down, and we anticipate, or the NAR anticipates, that it's going to be around 6%. Inventory, the number of homes for sale is expected to increase moderately, although inventory levels will remain unevenly distributed across the country. Again, depends upon the demand. Are people leaving certain cities? Are leaving the cold to get into the South as baby boomers retire? So there will be more homes expected to increase moderately, but again, as far as people just moving up, it's going to depend on mortgage rates, because people who have 2 and 3% interest rates are not necessarily interested in 6% because that doubles their mortgage payment. Buyer seller balance, the market is likely to become more balanced with increased inventory in some areas, providing more negotiating power for buyers, while markets with persistent low supply will remain tight. And then there'll be, like we said, there'll be regional differences. The market will be mixed regionally. Markets with a lot of recent buildings, such as those in the Sun Belt down in Florida, may see weaker price growth. Again, as new construction, if I'm an existing homeowner, I'm competing with new construction. So, my property may not appreciate as much because there is a plethora of of inventory sitting on the market as new construction comes to the market, and more buyer leverage. While markets in the Northeast, Midwest, say Illinois, could continue to face tight inventory and competition. So, what do you see as opportunities in 2026? What do you see as challenges? Challenges could be turned into opportunities with the right amount of marketing tools and opportunities. And opportunities should be strategies that, if focused upon, will help grow your business in 2026. We'll be filling out, like Tony mentioned, a business planning worksheet. We're going to provide you guys with a copy of it. We're actually going to even take a look at it, at one that was an example of one filled out. But before we fill out the workbook, let's give our minds an opportunity to expand, like we said. Let's see what are the opportunities that we could incorporate into our business plan worksheet. If we don't know there's opportunities, if we don't know there's resources as a realtor, how can we then say, let's use that as a strategy for 2026? So let's explore our strengths and our weaknesses. Before we dive into that workbook, let's ask ourselves some questions. Let's find out what we know and what we don't know. What strategies do we know and what strategies don't we know? And would we like to incorporate them into 2026? Again, you have to always ask yourself, are you a green fish or a goldfish? What is your unique selling proposition for buyers and sellers? Are you one of many agents being a goldfish, or are you unique? Do you bring to the table some unique marketing strategies that make you a green fish standing out from the crowd? Are you planning on doing the same marketing in 26 as you did in 25 and expecting better results? I hope not. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. Again, are you going to be a green fish with unique selling propositions, or are you a goldfish and just going to follow the crowd? Can you do one or two marketing strategies for 2026 that you're not doing in 2025? If you execute one or two additional marketing strategies, your business is going to grow because, again, you're working on bringing in additional business different than what you were doing in 2025. Do you have a written focused strategies for 2026, or do you run with whatever comes your way? This written focus strategies is this business planning worksheet. Do you have a written document that you've thought through, that you know what you're supposed to be doing from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock each day as you work your business? Does your business plan look a little bit like this? It's simple but focused, but think of your business plan as like a tabletop. You got a table and you got legs underneath the table, and the legs underneath the table could be your marketing strategy. So let's just take a quick peek at a visualization of what that could look like. So here's your business plan. Here's your tabletop. Then down below are all your different legs. I've selected in green 3 of them. If I was a realtor, I might want to do these 3 first. And I think everybody should always be choosing this. If you're not doing this in 2026, you're missing out on a great opportunity. Are you dripping on your Bob, on your book of business? You should be in contact with that book of business every month. And again, how do you do that easily without having to set up all these crazy systems? Go to HomeBot. Tony can set you up with HomeBot. You can try it out. You can put 25 clients into HomeBot for free. It doesn't cost you anything. But once you do, it'll cost you something like $25 for 500 clients. And it breaks it down into 2 categories. One, the first category is past clients. If any of you have sold somebody a home, they're a past client. What does a past client want to know? What is the fair market value of my home? If you can, on a monthly basis, continue to give them without you having to do anything, you just put them into the system, you put their email into the system, you put their property address in there, and the system is tied into AI, and it gives them an idea of not only what their fair market value is, it also goes into public records, looks at their mortgage, amortizes it down, and says, in your current balance on your mortgage is X. If they happen to have prepaid a principal balance on it, they can always say, well, I'm going to edit that balance. I gave them $10,000. It's now, this is the number. From that point forward, AI will amortize that balance on a monthly basis, showing them what their current balance is on the mortgage. The difference between the mortgage and the fair market value of their home is equity in the home. And then it tries to cross-sell them on 4 different strategies at the equity. Would you like to think of getting a second home? We, you know, Vacation home, second home. Would you like to think about upgrading, downsizing? Meaning sell this house, and because you got equity, you can use that equity to buy a bigger home. Maybe you bought a 3 bedroom. Now you got more children. Maybe you need a 4 bedroom. You can use the equity for that. Would you like to use the equity to take it out and buy an investment property, get a rental property, start buying rental properties? And last but not least, would you just like to take cash out because you have an opportunity to invest in something, whether it's the stock market, whether it's some other investment, start a business on your own? These are all great strategies that are cross sold within HomeBot, and you don't have to do a doggone thing other than put their name, put their email, and put their address into HomeBot. That's it. It's very simple, but you need to do that. And the second thing is, are you calling your book of business 3 times a year? If I had 1,000 clients, that means that if I want to do that 3 times a year, that's every 4 months I got to get through 1,000 clients. That means if I divide 4 into that, it's something like 200. I got to do about 250 clients every month. And then if I divide that by 4 weeks in a month, that's something like 80, 70, it's about a little over 70 clients that I have to make a phone call to. And all I got to do is say, hi, it's Melinda. Glenn, I'm just checking up on you. You bought the house last year. Um, you know, how's it going? Is the house meeting your needs? By the way, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. It's a check-in. It's you being personal with your audience, with your customer base. And you should be doing that 3 times a year. And that's not that difficult. Again, it's doing money-making activities, and all you have to do at the end of the conversation is there anything that I can help you with as far as a second home, an investment property, or getting cash out? No, thank you at this time. Great. How about your children? Again, my daughter's now in the process of buying a home. If somebody had asked me, hey, can I help you with the financing or can I help your son or your daughter get ready to purchase a home? You just might find that your customer base has opportunities within it. So again, I dwelled on, make sure that you call your book of business 3 times a year. Make sure you get onto HomeBot and get in contact with the past clients so they get the fair market value, the equity in the home, they get cross-sold. And then the other part of HomeBot is if you have prospects. And if you're sending them listings, let's say in zip code 60657, what HomeBot does is it continues to send them information about what's going on in 60657, how many homes are selling, what is the average selling price. And that goes in front of them every single month. So again, you said it, you forget it, but you are in front of your leads, you're in front of your past clients, and it's something you need to do for 2026. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but again, because I've got more opportunities here than what might be in your business plan, because all I want you to do is maybe do 2 or 3 of these. Again, you might be wanting to go after expired listings, canceled listings, for sale by owners, and you can do that using Listing Booster. Again, where can you learn about these strategies? Go to the Glenn Marino YouTube channel, and there's many, many classes within there that'll show you how to do that. Another opportunity is to advertise other agents' listings. If I was a new agent or I was an agent that didn't have any listings, I might call a friend in the office. And it doesn't have to be in your own office. Maybe you have a friend that's with a Remax or with some other agency. And what you would like to do is advertise their listing. Why do you want to advertise it? Because you get to put a sign writer in the lawn of that listing that says, for more information on this house, dial this number to that number. It comes, anybody who does that, you get a notification on your phone, you get a buyer lead. And what the customer that did that texting of one number to another number, they get a virtual tour, they get all the photos of the house, they get a property website downloaded into their phone. Pretty cool, but the big plus for you is you get buyer leads off of a sign writer for doing that strategy. The next one I love is Facebook, and it's highlighted in green because I would be doing this. And we're going to look at this in greater detail. I would be advertising that if I was a in this marketplace where it's it's tight for a lot of people to get into homes because of higher interest rates, I might say, would you like to know how to qualify? Would you like to know how I could get you up to $10,000 in down payment assistance and closing costs? You got to remember, under the IDA program, it's only 640 credit score. They need they need to make less than something like $136,000 a year. Well, I know a whole bunch of people that make less than 136,000 and they have a 640 or better credit score. I would also be going after, again, with higher rates. People say, "Oh, I can't get into housing because it's higher." My daughter, for example, what she's doing with her home, she's doing what's called a 1-0 buy down, where instead of getting a rate of 6.5, she's getting a rate of 5.5 in the first year because she believes a year from now rates will be lower and she'll refinance into a lower rate. You guys should be putting into Facebook every week that you can get somebody a rate 2% lower than the existing rates that are available in the marketplace. So if, according to Redfin, if rates are going to get down to 6, how would you like to be advertising 6 with a X in it and then a green check with a 4%, and put that into Facebook and say, if you'd like to know more about how you can get 2% less in the first year, 1% less in the second year, contact me, Melinda. I mean, that would be something I would be putting out there every single week so that, because again, you can't do one post and say, "Oh, I've done that in Facebook and it wasn't effective." You need to be consistent. And again, we're going to go into that in a little greater detail. Um, Serving your community matters. Again, it's policemen, firemen. I'm not going to go into great detail, but it is a strategy. If you need to know more, contact Tony. What is your home worth? Postcards. Again, if you're trying to be a bigger listing agent, Tony has the templates to give you the ability to do postcards. You print up 2,000. You print up 1,000. You cut them in half. You got 2,000, and you peel off 200 at a time. And you start walking your neighborhood with a cup of coffee and the dog, and you start putting these out there with people. And it comes springtime, you just might meet people doing spring cleanup. They get to meet you face to face. But again, kind of a cool strategy. Remine will give you the opportunity to see what I call the high probability sellers in your neighborhood that you want to farm. Last but not least, first time homebuyer seminars. I do not know why you don't do this for 2026. All you have to do is do two things. One, invite your customer base when you're doing the calling your customers 3 times a year. Ask them if there's anybody that they know of them, a brother or sister, a son or a daughter, a friend who could use information about how to be a home buyer in this marketplace. You have to invite 6 to 8 people each once a month. I think you could do that. You're always in contact with people. You meet them at work. You meet them at church. You meet them at different places, and see if you can't invite them to an educational seminar. Nothing being sold but education. And all you have to do is provide the emails to Tony. He sends out the invitation for you. He does the Zoom. He has the PowerPoint, and you're on your way to educating potential buyers. And if you did that once a month, you'd have 12 of those under your belt by the end of the year. I guarantee you will find somebody who appreciates the education. So again, this is just a pictorial. This is not the business plan, but it gives you an idea. We're going to send this out to people. We want you to think. We want you to expand your minds and start thinking about what additionally should I be doing in 2026 that I'm not doing in 2025 to increase my business. Then we want you to create a daily, weekly success plan. Once you know what your strategies are going to be, we want you to fill it in, hold yourself accountable, stay focused for the week. Give it to Tony or to your broker or to a friend each week, and make yourself accountable to someone. And again, it can look something like this. where you're doing first some whole body health. In the morning, do you do a walk, a run? Do you exercise? Do you do yoga? Do you meditate? Do you read a poem? Do you read some inspirational saying? Any of those, what does that do for you? It sets your mind to be active, to be open, to be energized. Absolutely starts the day off. It releases the endorphins. It makes you feel positive about what the day brings to you. And then what you're going to do is, depending upon which strategies you pick, you're going to go, well, I'm going to call on expireds or FSBOs or other agents to advertise their listings, or past clients, because I said I was going to contact my past clients 3 times a year. I got to do 80 contacts this month. So, that's not that hard, because, break it down into weekly. It's not that hard. Am I going to do serving your community matters? So these are the numbers. Are you meeting your goals? Are you sending this off to your accountability coach and making sure that, why didn't you do something on Friday? Um, are you doing Facebook posts? Are you asking 20 friends, to be a friend? And I go into friends, people who are friends of mine on Facebook. I go into their friends, because if I kind of like them, that means that they probably have a similar nature to me. They have similar interests, similar values. And so I ask their friends if they like to be my friend, so I can expand my friend base. And then I send out through Messenger, I send the same post I put into Facebook, I send it out in Messenger to these friends that I have in Facebook, just to see if anybody's interested in getting $10,000 in down payment assistance or closing costs. Or are you interested in getting an interest rate 2% less in the first year and 1% less in the second year? Somebody's going to say yes to these things. Not everybody, but if I'm doing this on a regular basis, I'm going to get some business out of it. Uh, this particular realtor was not doing expireds or canceled or FSBOs. Um, they were doing weekly presentations to first responders, to the policemen, the firemen, the teachers, to doctors, to nurses. They were delivering "What's Your Home Worth" postcards. So they went out on the reason they went out on Saturday is because people were home. People were outside raking leaves, cutting grass. They were doing stuff for their homes. And they got to meet the realtor, you. How about, what a cool thing. So they did 200 on Fifth Avenue, and next week they'll do 200 on Sixth Avenue, and the next week they'll do 200 on Seventh Avenue. You do it in the neighborhood you want to farm. And they did conduct a first-time home buyer seminar on Thursday night at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever time that you set it up for. So again, how many leads did you get? These are all good things that you're putting into your weekly success plan, and you need to give it to your accountability coach, which could be Tony, which could be your broker, which could be a friend, but you got to do this in order that, are you being successful, or are you just, well, whatever comes my way comes my way? This is a seminar on how to increase the book of business that you're currently doing in 2025 for 2026. Okay, let's go back to our agenda. Then what you have to do is you have to update your Google Calendar on Sunday. Every Sunday, you need to update your calendar. What time do you start your day? Do you start at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock? What are you doing at these times? Are you going in and looking for an expired listing to market to? Are you going after a FSBO and going into Zillow/FSBO? Are you at 9 o'clock starting to call your past clients? You got 80 of them to call. So maybe you're looking to do 15 on Monday, 15 on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You need to do money making activities first thing in the morning. It is not, let me go and like everybody's post in Facebook. Let me look further into my phone as to what's going on in the world. You can catch up at a later date. The first thing you're doing in the morning is no cell phones, and you're focusing on money making activities. So let's look at some of the strategies. We talked a little bit about them, but we've got a whole sheet of strategies. And again, you're not going to do all these. This is just perky information to perk your mind, to open your mind and say yes to 2026. If you walk away with just one of these that you're not doing that you want to do, you will increase your book of business in 2026. So let's take a look at some of these strategies. Okay, so we talked a little bit about HomeBot, a strategy. It's a very easy strategy, but what it does, it says you need to put that into play for your current book of business. It's an automated drip system on past clients and prospects. It's broken into two halves within HomeBot. Try it for 25. It's free. Start trying it. See if it works. See if your clients love the fact that they're getting fair market value, that they're getting the equity in their homes, and that it's cross-selling for you the other opportunities that await your past clients. Are you making a personal phone call to your book of business 3 times a year? Um, again, you're giving your client through HomeBot the updated value of their home, the equity buildup, and you're directing the book of business to loan products for them or their family. Again, this is great opportunity for you when you're calling your book of business to find out if they, your past clients, are in need of a bigger home. Is the house, how's the house doing? Do you need to get pre-approved for a bigger home, for a second home, for an investment property? Or is it your son or daughter, your brother, your sister, or just a friend? Great, no hard selling, just having conversation. Wish them at this time of year. What do you do? Wish them Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year, all sorts of great things that you can wish them, tell them God bless you and move on. Um, another strategy is expired or canceled through Listing Booster. You log into the MLS, you find one expired each day. Every time I've gone into to do this strategy, I find hundreds. Time block your activity in the Google Calendar. Make sure that again, it's in the morning. It's in your money making activity. If this is a strategy, put it into your calendar. And there's 3 delivery methods. You can do the coffee cup, where you put all of your information into a coffee cup and deliver it to them. You can do a door hanger, or you can just mail out the information to them. And again, if you're looking for what the coffee cup looks like, I think I have a picture of that. There it is. So here's what it would look like. Coffee cup sprinkled with some candies in it, your business cards. This is a flyer of the expired's home. And this is what I've already done for you, telling them all the marketing that you've already done for them. Check it out in the Glenn Marino YouTube channel for how you get to get to these final products. So again, going back to your strategies. FSBO marketing is very similar to the expired. You're going to log into Zillow.com/FSBO. Make sure that the FSBO is not in the MLS, because some FSBOs do sign up with a realtor and the realtor puts them into the MLS. As you know, you can't market what another realtor is already marketing in the MLS. Find one a day if you're doing the FSBO and put a sign writer in the front yard. The key here is that FSBOs need all the marketing help they can get. You're going to create a property website. You're going to create buy a sign writer, put it in the front lawn. It says for more information on this house, text this number to that number. You're going to get buyer leads. And then time block it in your Google Calendar. It goes under the opportunities for money-making activities in the morning. You could also drive around your neighborhood, look for FSBO lawn signs. If you got FSBO lawn signs that just have a phone number that says this home is for sale by owner, call them. See if you can help them market the house by putting a sign writer in there that allows people to get a complete property website with all 25 pictures of the inside, outside of the house, downloaded into a potential buyer's phone, and you get all the leads. Advertise other agents' listings using Listing Booster. Again, go to Glenn Marino's YouTube channel. You'll see strategy, this class there. But under broker reciprocity, you can clone other agents' listings into your agent marketing account. Get the agent's written permission to advertise their listing. Again, if you go up to another agent who's got a listing and you were to say, "Can I advertise your listing?" That agent better say yes, because what they're interested in is getting a commission. They're getting the 2.5% as the listing agent. If you come in and you come in as the buyer's agent and find a buyer for them, you get the other 2.5. They love the fact that you're going to help market this faster and more, get it going out there in the internet. So again, if you would like to advertise other agents' listings, get their permission, ask that you can put a sign writer in the yard and collect buyer leads. I think it's a great strategy. Create commercials to brand yourself with Facebook posts, ads, ads with their free Google landing pages. Let's just take a quick peek at that. Here's what some of them that I like. So let's see where I have those. I've got them right here. Okay, Facebook post. On Monday, post Monday, if given $10,000 today, would you buy a home tomorrow? Golly, guys, I would think that if I posted that every week for 52 weeks, I might get somebody that says, "Hey, Melinda, I kind of like the fact that I see this $10,000. How do I qualify for it? Talk to me some more. You have a lead going. You and Tony are working on somebody who's interested in getting 10,000. Who doesn't want $10,000? Most people do. So again, you can do it without a landing page. Just tell them to contact you. Or you can work with Tony, myself. We develop a landing page in Google where they can click on it. They can put in their name, address, and phone number. And then obviously it goes to you, to Tony, and you guys can start working on it. But it's a great post. And if you think it's that great, you can also do what's called a Facebook ad, which then will get out to a lot more people. Because when you do a Facebook post, it's only going to friends who frequently like or comment, or that you like or comment their posts. So that's a limited number of people. I got thousands of people that are quote unquote my friends in Facebook, but I do not click on thousands of people on a monthly basis. So again, if I just do a post, it's only going to go to those people that I interact with. If you want more than just the people that you interact with, do a Facebook ad. Do it once a week. It's not going to cost you that much, and you're going to get out to thousands of people that you're not getting to right now. Another one is buying a home just got easier. If you could contribute at least 1% of the purchase price from your own funds and the remainder from down payment assistance or seller credits, would you buy a house tomorrow? Again, the 1% is a teaser. Again, it's very similar. It's one of the requirements of the $10,000 from IDA. You have to have a 640 credit score. You have to make less than $136,000 a year, and you must put in at least 1% of your own funds. So again, if people would like to know more about how they can put in at least 1% to buy a home, click on this link and go to my landing page or call me. Again, get a free report, 90 things you can't neglect when selling your home. Tony has this report, 90 things you can't afford to neglect. This happens to be Jake Kilk's. And again, if you put that into Facebook, sellers that might be interested in things that that they can't neglect when selling a home, they click on it, they go to your landing page, or they call you, and you now have a conversation going with a potential seller. What is your home worth? Why not put it into Facebook? Why not say, what's your home worth? Are you curious as to what your home is worth? In the neighborhood that, are you, more importantly, are you curious as to what your home is worth in this hot spring market? Well, it's going to be, in my opinion, it's going to be a hotter spring market. You're seeing mortgage rates starting to come down, a little more inventory. There's pent-up demand. Maybe you want to put this out there into Facebook on a weekly basis if you'd like to know what your home is worth, click this link and go to my landing page, and I can set you up with what your home is worth. There's some variations of that. How about on Friday? Buy a 4-unit owner-occupied building for only 3.5% down. Wow, wow, wow. Again, in today's marketplace, if I was a realtor and I was having an affordability issue, my prospects are saying, "Oh, gee, yeah, 6, 7%, 6.5% on a mortgage. I just can't afford the payment." Well, have you thought about showing them a 2 to 4 unit building where if they have, let's say they buy a 3 unit, they got two, but they have to live in one of them. So the other two are rentals, and the other two, the rental income helps to offset their mortgage payment. And typically, the net, the mortgage payment minus the two rents, the net is less than what they would have been paying had they bought a single family home. It's a great way to start people to get into the real estate market when they don't think they can. So why aren't you putting this into your Facebook or into Twitter or into Instagram, letting people know that you have a way to get people into 2 to 4 units for only 3.5% down? The 3.5% happens to be an FHA loan, and it's only 3.5% down. You could advertise for FSBOs, but this is what I like, though. I like this one a lot, especially in this higher interest rate environment. 2-1 buy down. If current interest rates are holding you back from purchasing a new home, get 2% lower in your first year, 1% lower in the second year. The buy down fee can be paid by the seller. If you believe that interest rates will be lower in the next 2 years, contact me for a free discussion on how much lower your mortgage payment could be with a 2-1 buy down. I'd be putting that into my Facebook posts every single week because somebody's going to say, "Hey, yeah, 6.5 is," or in this case, I like it. 7% is bad, but 5% is good, and you can change this up to more current rates because if 6.375 is bad, how does 4.375 look? I mean, people are going to react to that and say, "I need to know more information about it." And if you're consistently out there doing this, you can't be one off. I did it once and I'm done. It's a weekly thing, but it's money making activity. It's what you're doing at 8 o'clock. It's what you're doing at 9 o'clock. It's what you're doing at 10 o'clock. It's making sure you get your strategies executed every day before you start looking at, doing social activities and other types of Facebook. So anyway, those are some of the strategies that you could employ if you were to do Facebook posts. There's Facebook Marketplace. I look in Facebook Marketplace and I see people selling things. When I start to see them selling furniture, I typically think they're moving. So do they need to know what their home is worth? Do they need to know what a 2-1 buy down can do, that they can get 2% less? It's well worth, because again, in Facebook Marketplace, you can message these people that are selling stuff. How hard is it? I mean, it doesn't hurt you, it doesn't hurt them to message them and say, if you're moving, I might be able to help you with a 2-1 buy down, get you 2% less in your first year. I might be able to help get you $10,000 in down payment assistance. So again, just message them. It's a great way to do something. There's garage sales in your city, wherever you happen to be marketing. Go to the garage sales. They're selling stuff. Why not post in the garage sale that you're offering people $10,000? I mean, they're always looking for a bargain. How about if they're looking for $10,000? Whoa, maybe they'll think this is a great thing. Let me message you back and talk to me some more about it. There's also real estate groups that you can join and you can put your posts into. We talked about the first time home buyer seminar. Tony creates the Zoom link and sends out the invitation. So you don't need Zoom. Tony just needs the emails. Preferably you come up with 6 to 8 people each month. I'll be your guest speaker, Tony will be. And again, within there, we'll talk about the $10,000 that's available for down payment assistance. We'll talk about the 2-1 buy down. We'll talk about buying a 2 to 4 unit. I mean, these are all things that are covered in this home buyer seminar. It wraps a lot of things in there, and it's super packed with education. And so when you send people there, they're going to walk away and say, "Hey, Melinda, hey, Realtors, you guys are great. This was so informative." Invite your past prospects. When you make your calls to your book of business, your 80 people this week, make sure you ask them, do you have anybody, your family, your friends, your sons, your daughters, your friends that could use education on how to buy a home in this real estate market? We talked a little bit about serving your community matters for police, firemen, military, teachers, doctors, or nurses. Again, I'm not going to dwell on that. If you have interest in that, contact Tony. And there's also within the YouTube channel of Glenn, you'll see more information on that or a seminar on that. What is your home worth postcard? Let's take a look at what that looks like. Here it is. Here's Jake Kiltz again. Here's a postcard, free home value report on Green Village Homes. He was going to walk around the neighborhood of Green Village Homes and drop off this postcard. He printed 2,000 of them. He cut them in half. So, you printed 1,000. When you cut them in half, you got 2,000. Peeled off 200 at a time. He'd walk Fifth Avenue first and did 200, and then he did Sixth Avenue 200, and then did Seventh Avenue. He circled the block. He went around and he got all these distributed. And says if you have an interest in what your Green Village home may be worth, here's an easy way to find out what Green Village home like yours are asking, as reported by the Multiple Listing Service. Because again, you're going to do a CMA. And CMA takes into consideration other sold homes in the Multiple Listing Service. Get a free home value report through your email with stats based on all homes in your neighborhood without having to talk to an agent. So again, if he had a landing page, they clicked on it, they didn't have to talk to Jake. Jake would give them what they wanted, was a CMA, but then he did follow up with them to see if they liked the CMA. Did it meet their expectation? Was it above their expectation, below? He started a conversation to see, where is their interest? Are they thinking of selling now? Were they just curious? But again, it's an opportunity for you to have a discussion. Going back to some of these strategies. The Remind tool, again, not going to spend a lot of time. It's in your MLS. We have door hangers for that. Once you identify somebody that has a high probability of selling, why not drop off a door hanger saying that you can, in essence, and again, I think I have the door hanger available here. Let's see if I have it. I do. So here's the door hanger. You can see these hole punches. It gets a perforation down the middle. So this is really two door hangers. And after you've identified and Remind somebody who might be having a high probability of selling, this says, thinking of selling, check out why sellers are listing with me. This could be your home. And again, Jake was using Listing Booster, and he created a property website to show them that he has a virtual tour, he has pictures, he has a text message number that he puts on a sign rider that he puts in the front lawn. And he said that, here's a picture of that home. And he says, give your home great exposure, 3D virtual tour, listing in the MLS, major realty and social media sites. Because again, Listing Booster gives you the templates to put your listings into Facebook, into Instagram, into other social media sites. Your home's open house, widely advertised. Want to know what your home is worth? Click here or scan the QR code. And again, he puts this out there on any of the homes that Remind says people have a high probability of selling. Very cool. So I think we're just done with some of the strategies. Zillow for rent by owners. Again, it just, again, you can put them, remember this, Zillow for rent by owners. So these are owners that are advertising their home is available for rent. But owners do sell their homes down the road. So maybe you want to put them into your home bot. Maybe you want to let them know what their investment property is worth. You might want to put them into HomeBot so that AI can find out what the mortgage balance is and say, hey, the equity in this property is X. Do you want to use it? Buy another investment property, buy a second home, buy a bigger first primary residence. So again, just another strategy um, to those who are investors already, and you want to keep them apprised on a monthly basis of what their home is worth and the equity that's involved in that rental property. There is something called probate court marketing. I'm not going to go into that. Pre-foreclosures, you can buy subscriptions from RedX. You can do videos with local merchants. Um, Open house for other agents. That's a popular one where, again, if I'm looking for business, especially I'm looking for buyers, many of the listing agents love when somebody says, "Hey, can I handle your open house for you?" And so you offer to do open houses for agents not willing to do an open house. You create a free open house flyer with your Listing Booster account. Remember, Listing Booster is free from Tony. You'll capture buyer and seller leads, and you can use what's called the perfect open house strategy. Again, you'll find that in the Glenn Marino YouTube channel. Video marketing, again, I think that's advanced, and we're not going to go into that right now. But a lot of what we talked about, these marketing flyers, IDA, the 2-1 buy down, all sorts of the $10,000, they all come with flyers. So you can get free flyers from Tony. Again, if you don't have them for 2026, get them for 2026. Have them in your briefcase. Have them in an opportunity to hand out to people as you meet them, saying, I've got $10,000 available for you if you need it. I've got a 2-1 buy down. I can get you 2% less in the first year, 1% in the second year. These are all good talking points. And when you leave them, it's like leaving a business card, except it's bigger. It's 8.5 by 11. And it talks about the strategy so they don't forget what the heck you were talking about. All right. So now that we've looked at some of the strategies, let's look at that workbook that we're going to send out to you. And then we're finished. This is the one I'm going to send you, the 2026, but I'm going to show you one that's been filled out. It was done in 2024. So it starts with obstacles or opportunities. Regardless of the market, we each have the power to determine our opportunity. Use the following as a guide to decide what your top 3 obstacles and opportunities are in the market today. So higher interest rates, lack of inventory, customer hesitation, lack of that I'm not doing enough social media, not having a plan in the first place. I don't have a business plan, and I'm inconsistent with my CRM. I'm not using HomeBot. HomeBot would do it automatically every month for me. I'm not dripping on my book of business every month. Opportunities, seller education. Well, that would be great by doing some of those door hangers, or buyer education. Why not do first time home buyer educational seminars once a month? Expand knowledge. This is, again, expand the knowledge of your book of business, of your potentials. Expand that there's $10,000. Whenever I ask people, do you know that there's $10,000 available from the state of Illinois for down payment assistance? And people go, I've never heard of it. Or did you know that you can get 2% less in the first year and 1% less in the second year? And they go, never heard of it. Why not expand that knowledge base? Why not get it out there? Why not put it into Facebook and into Instagram and other social media sites? Time to partner in the community. That's if you're going to do serving your community matters. Improve your branding. Absolutely. Be consistent. Your branding only improves if you're consistent. If you do a once in a while post into Facebook, you don't expect your branding to improve. People don't know who you are. But if you're there every single week, letting people know about $10,000, letting people know about 2% less in the first year, letting them know what is your home worth, you're going to increase your branding and your awareness. Review and improve the CRM. Find out from your employer if he's got a CRM that's affordable, and 2, if it does what you want it to do, or get onto HomeBot. You get for $25 a month. You got to spend money to make money, and $25 is not a lot of money to spend to get in contact or stay in contact with 500 people. And again, if you want to go beyond 500, it's cost you another $10. I think it's now you have to spend $35 to get up to 1,000 people. So it's very inexpensive. Spend money to make money, to stay in contact with those people that know and like you, and that you could do additional business with them or their family, their sons and daughters. Create a solid business plan like this today. Improve social media presence, which you can do, with some help from us or on your own. Um, do a deeper dive. List your ideas on how to capitalize on the top three opportunities. Well, upload past clients into HomeBot. Upload prospects into HomeBot. Win every expired listing using Listing Booster. Um, Serving your community. Again, this is just an example. You might have different top three. I might put uh, making sure that I do Facebook posts every single day, 52 weeks a year. And again, remember my sheet that I showed you? It's Monday to do this, Tuesday do that, Wednesday. Every day there's a post, but when you start over with the next week, repost on Monday that you got $10,000. On Tuesday, make sure you repost that you've got 2% less in the first year, 1% less in the second year. Tools. What tools do you have for success? We got Listing Booster. It's free. HomeBot, it's free for the first 25, and then it costs, wow, $25 a month for 500 clients. I think you should look into that. Social media postings, they're free. They're in your Facebook post. And then creating landing pages to capture the leads. Again, you can work with Tony, you can work with me to get these landing pages going and incorporated into your Facebook posts. Identifying your clients. Who are your clients as of today? List where your past clients came from. Go through all of 2025. What percentage of your business was past clients? What percent came from advertising? What came from family and friends? Lender referrals, website inquiries, social media. And lo and behold, you're going to see where your strengths are, where and continue to work those strengths, but you're going to see where you're weak also, and where there's opportunities for you to do better in identifying clients. So again, with past clients, what can you do to improve upon past clients? Well, get them into HomeBot. If your company sends out a newsletter, send them the newsletter every month. Advertising, do Facebook posts and Facebook ads to broaden the people that you're in contact with the cool stuff you got. You got $10,000, you got 2 and buy downs, you got what is your home worth, you got a whole bunch of stuff. How about family and friends, inviting them to home buyer seminars? Great strategy. How about asking for referrals or working with Tony on strategies where you both get referrals, like sign lawns in the front lawn? Tony gets a referral, you get a referral. Let's see if is that something that you want to do? Ask home inspectors, handymen, and appraisers for referrals. Again, this is just an example. This is not etched in stone. You're going to do your own. I'm going to send you a blank of this. Marketing strategy and social media presence. What do you want to do? In Facebook, post a daily commercial with a landing page, and then do once a week, do an ad, because the ad will get out to thousands of people instead of just the people that interact with you. Instagram, take the image from Facebook, post it into Instagram. In Zillow, use Zillow Fizbos for buyer and seller opportunities. LinkedIn, post my Facebook post. Twitter, post my Facebook post. Lead generation. Again, you can get leads from many of these strategies. You can also buy leads from Zillow, from RedX, and from other sources. Customer experience. Have positive online reviews. Every time you do a transaction, you should be sending somebody a link to your Google review sheet. Open a Google page and ask for reviews every transaction, buyer or seller transaction. And no more than they do. Call past clients. You know more. You're just not telling them. First off, that they're in HomeBot. You know that you're sending them what the equity in their home is. You should be asking them if there's an opportunity to, up them to a bigger home, downsize them if they're getting, if they're empty nesters, calling them to find out, is there any opportunity for a second home for you? Is there any opportunity for investment property for you? How's the current home? How are the children? Hey, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. Do you have any children or friends or family that could use down payment assistance programs? Absolutely. Be green. You can. That's just Be green, send out stuff that can be signed through DocuSign. It's how Tony does it with all his applications. Have a community presence or give back programs that serving your community matters. That's policemen, firemen, doctors, nurses. Be high tech. Use Listing Booster. It's going to make you look like you're techie. Property websites, virtual tours, um, uh, templates to get into social media sites, uh, lawn signs to capture buyer leads. You're going to look high tech. CRM, mark items that you would like to tighten up the process. Automated lead capture. Again, the CRM could be HomeBot. The CRM could be what your broker or something that you bought individually. Stay in contact. Contact management means stay in contact with them on a monthly basis. That's what HomeBot does. Not only your past clients, but your prospects. Making sure your customer database is in the CRM. Are you doing any type of email marketing campaigns? Many of the CRMs do that. Do you have automated marketing within the CRM? Is it trying to, cross sell? HomeBot does that. It's asking if they want to take the equity and buy a second home. HomeBot does that. It's asking if they'd like to buy an investment property. HomeBot does it. It says, would you like to upgrade to a bigger home or a smaller home? And again, smartphone synchronization. Are many of these systems also be able to be operated off of your smartphone? Reflecting on performance. Again, this goes back to, remember that daily, weekly success plan? Reflecting on your performance. How do you begin each morning? Do you run? Do you walk? Do you yoga? Do you meditate? Do you read? Get your endorphins released. Get your mindset. Open your body up. Open your mind up to the day, to challenges, to opportunities. What are your non-negotiables? Well, it's your money-making activities. Are you calling your FSBOs? Are you calling your expireds? Are you calling your past book of business? What are you posting in Facebook? Are you doing a Facebook? What your money-making activities? They're non-negotiable. They're done first and foremost in your day. Does your Google Calendar reflect these activities? Don't leave it to your mind. Don't leave it to memory. Put it in your calendar and then check it off that you did that for that particular day. And we've got a calendar in this work. If you don't want to set up a Google Calendar or an Outlook calendar, we've got a calendar in the next couple of slides here. How are you holding yourself accountable? Do you have a daily, weekly success plan with Tony or with a friend or with a broker? Somebody that you can at least say, this is what I did. And then be honest and transparent. I didn't meet my goals. And why? What got in the way? How do you reflect back at the end of the day? What is your plan to stay highly focused in downtime? A brain dump, 10 things that might be on your mind right now. Commit to not overcommitting. Get rid of it as it applies to the 4Ds. Delete. This is something you want to do, but it's not an essential part of growing your business, so get rid of it. Defer it. This might be a goal, but not needed immediately. Put this on your calendar to revisit at a later date. Delegate it. This is something you plan to implement, but doesn't have to be learned or done by you. Utilize your tools and resources and put it into action and do it. This is essential for your business. Just make it happen. And here's your events calendar. And here's where you can put in from whatever time you start your day. I would update this every Sunday. I would print one of these out every Sunday. What am I doing at 8 o'clock on Monday? What am I doing on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? What am I doing at 9? What am I doing at 10? I want to get all my money-making activities so that I can see and plan for these things, such that when something else comes up, and again, I use the Google Calendar versus something like this, but this is an easy way to do it. If you don't maintain a calendar on your phone or on your computer, try doing this. This will keep you focused on doing money-making activities. So in closing, what are your next steps? Create your calendar. Put your money-making activities in. Fill out the worksheet. Probably step one is fill out the worksheet. Once you do that, then you know what goes into your calendar. What am I going to do? What do I want? And again, remember what I said, I'll repeat it. I want you to do one, do two, great, but do one additional strategy that you heard today that you're not doing in 2025, but you're going to do it in 2026. You do that and you will have an incremental increase in your business. But if you do what you're doing now, don't expect your business to change. Whatever you're doing now, you do it again in 2026, you're going to get the same result. But there's enough strategies here that all you have to do is pick one. And if you like it, pick two and go for it and execute it to the fullest extent and have fun at it. Schedule and set aside time for learning opportunities. Again, go to the Glenn Marino YouTube channel. Many recorded classes are in there. You want to learn more about how to market to FSBOs, how to market to expireds, go in there. You want to learn more about a 2-1 buy down, go in there. There's all sorts of cool stuff in there. And then plan for monthly reviews. That means go to your coach, your accountability coach. Go to Tony, go to your broker, go to your friend. Get some feedback and honest assessment because they're going to ask you, why didn't you meet your goal? Your goal was 65 calls. This week, you made 40. What got in the way? And you don't want to repeat that. Maybe there's a good reason, but you don't want to repeat it. So consider finding a mentor or coach to keep you accountable to your plan. We appreciate the opportunity to do this with and for you. So are there any questions that I can answer for anybody at this time?